Hello and welcome to another session of the My Solo 401k Financial, My Community Daily Webinar Series. We're excited to discuss an update regarding the big, beautiful bill, specifically a new $2,500 Trump IRA for the children of self-employed. I'm imagining that you are probably inundated with updates from your different resources you follow regarding the big, beautiful bill. We wanted to focus on one provision in the legislation that we think is going to be relevant to our community of self-employed individuals, because we oftentimes are asked whether or not a child of a self-employed person can be added to the solo 401k. And so we want to highlight this new provision, which effectively is going to allow a self-employed person to make contributions to a minor child who's an employee of their business. So we want to get this on your radar and start to give you information so you can digest and plan for it. So just to give us a quick overview before we get started, there's a new IRA-style savings account. It's really an IRA for children. It's nicknamed the Trump account. The law was signed by the president on July 4th, 2025. It launches in 2026, specifically 12 months after enactment, so next July. So before we jump in, as always, the presentation is being provided for educational purposes only and should not be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice, nor as a solicitation. When making an investment decision, please consult with your tax attorney and financial professional. So I see we've got a good question, which is a great question, and I'm sure we'll have more time to get information from the regulators as well as digest the legislation. But off the top, I would say the difference between what's in the legislation and a custodial IRA is that this legislation specifically allows a self-employed or allows an employer to make a contribution to one of these Trump accounts, these Trump IRA accounts. And so it can be made, as you'll see as we talk about the requirements, if the individual is a minor and they're an employee or a dependent of an employee of that employer. So translating that to the context of a self-employed business, that's what we want to do today. So that would be a difference right off the top, is that you've got a specific section of the law that's going to allow for effectively a contribution to be made by the business to this account. So it's really got that extra dimension that wouldn't apply to a custodial IRA. So let's first lay the foundation and go through some of the slides here, and then we can go through questions that you might have. So who's eligible? Child must be an employee or a dependent of an employee. Contributions must be made by a written plan. So that means the self-employed business is going to have a written plan that allows for these contributions to be made to one of these Trump IRA accounts. And again, so in the context of, let's translate it to a self-employed context. That means that it's a minor. That minor needs to be an employee of the self-employed business or a dependent of the employee. So that means that to be sure that the requirements are met, that person would need to be a W-2 employee of the self-employed business. That would be the safe assumption at this point. At this point, we're just working with what's in the legislation. The expectation is more details, more meat will be put on the bone once the IRS issues guidance or regulations. So, but that's what we're working with so far. Contribution rules. So the employer can contribute up to $2,500 annually to one of these individuals who meets the requirements, right? They're either an employee or a dependent of an employee of the employer, in this case, the self-employed business. So if you have multiple children, right? Again, this is the context, as we hear a lot of people who are asking whether they can have their children participate in the solo 401k. And the answer is no if they're under 21 years of age. And this is not participating in the solo 401k, to be clear. This is setting up an IRA for your child, right? But if you have multiple children and each child is either an employee or a dependent of the employee, in the case of, say, a self-employed person who themselves is an employee of the self-employed business, then the employer can contribute $2,500 to each person's IRA account. They'd also have to be a minor, of course. Now, this amount is going to increase for inflation, right? Think about, say, the 401k contribution limits where they increase with inflation. These contributions per the statute, per the statute, are going to be excluded from the gross income of the child, of the person that has this IRA account. And again, there needs to be a specific written plan that the employer puts into place before they start to make these contributions. Now, there's specific investment rules that apply to these new Trump IRA accounts. The investments are limited to mutual funds or ETFs, exchange traded funds, and the annual fees are capped at 0.1% of the account balance. There's also distribution rules, so no withdrawals are permitted before age 18. After age 18, the account is treated as a traditional IRA with standard IRA tax treatment applying. We talked about this at the outset, but again, just to highlight it, it's not available currently, but we want to get it on your radar. So the law was signed on July 4th, 2025. Thanks for your patience. I think we had some audio issues there for a second. So again, law was signed on July 4th, 2025. Under the statute, under the bill, under the legislation, the accounts become available starting 12 months after enactment. So that'd be July 2026. But in the meantime, employers could start preparing their written plan. It might be prudent to wait at least until there's some guidance from the IRS for eligible employees or dependents of employees. So that's definitely a key takeaway, right? We're awaiting the IRS guidance, key implementation details still pending. The expectation is that the IRS will issue guidance and or regulations. We will be closely monitoring this and provide updates and clarities as these new rules are released. So thank you so much for joining. If you're finding this to be helpful, please like this video to help us get the word out to other solopreneurs like you. Please subscribe as we do go live on a daily basis. You can subscribe on whatever channel you're watching, whether it's on YouTube or LinkedIn or X or Instagram. We also invite you to our community. We've got over 30,000 members. It's totally free to join. All are welcome. You can join easily at mysolo401k.net/my community. That's a good question. From at least the statute, it would appear to be a separate additional limit in addition to an IRA. But this might be confirmed with the IRS guidance and regulations. It's all traditional. There's no Roth component here. But good questions. Yes, these are the types of questions we have as well. And we've got some clarity, but not 100% clarity, as you might expect with such a large bill that was just with the political context, just trying to get it done as fast as possible. And that's where the guidance hopefully will, help make it easier to implement. But yes, please stay tuned. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Until next time, we appreciate everyone. Take care.